The adventurers advanced as if each second were their last, fighting furiously to fend off the minotaurs and clear a path. The air was heavy with blood, heat, and despair. Even with all their effort, there was still something worse blocking their way: the floor boss. The giant with monstrous arms swept away combatants as if they were leaves, threatening to destroy everything around him. Faced with this scene, the impulse arose to ask for help, even if it was just a single blow to bring down that living wall. But the order came harshly and non-negotiably: keep running. Trust your companions. They wouldn't give up. The answer came in the form of overwhelming magic. Mikoto invoked her maximum power, and a gravitational prison fell upon Goliath, forcing the colossus against the ground. The impact cracked stone, shook the chamber, and made the environment itself groan. At the same instant, mages and warriors unleashed magical swords and spells in perfect synchronicity. Fire, lightning, and wind merged into a single point of destruction. The giant was consumed by the elemental storm until it exploded, reduced to ashes and fragments of magical stone. Victory opened the way, and with it came a chorus of shouts, farewells, and encouragement. Pushed by that wave of confidence, Belle and Ryu pressed on toward the 18th floor, now without hesitation. The new floor revealed a rare refuge, a false sky illuminated by blue crystals and the large central tree marking the safe zone. The order was to stop, just for 2 minutes, for recovery and hydration. Healers and assistants were already waiting, applying healing magic and distributing restorative drinks. Even the strongest adventurers showed the weight of the journey. There were rest stations planned up to deep floors, strategic points to keep everyone alive on that long and dangerous descent. While energy was restored, it became clear that each pause was precious, and that, from then on, the path would only get more arduous. Among the groups positioned on the safe floor, a young woman from the 3rd Squad ran to meet Belle with her staff in hand and her breath quickening. It was Nina, sent specifically to provide magical support. Even though he said he could still advance without help, she refused the idea of standing aside. She couldn't fight on the front line, but she could support him, and she would do it with pride. Her magic blossomed into a warm, invigorating white light, completely restoring the energy that had been consumed in the previous battle. The fatigue vanished like mist in the sun. The gratitude wasn't just formal, it was sincere. Belle made it clear that this was also a way of fighting together, that the advance of the front line only existed because there were those who supported the rear. The words hit Nina hard. Her eyes shone, brimming with tears, and the smile that appeared mixed relief and determination. Without wasting time, she ran back to tend to other wounded, taking her post seriously. Observing her dedication, there was a feeling of silent pride. Each person there carried a vital part of that mission. The moment of calm, however, was short-lived. Lafia took her place beside him with a sharp, suspicious look. She had noticed every detail of the exchange with the healer: the tone, the smile, the blush. The provocation came directly, accusing her of hidden intentions and inappropriate fantasies. Belle tried to defend himself, stating that it was only admiration and respect, nothing more than that. But the elf's cold expression did not yield. The light atmosphere turned to tension in seconds. By the oculos, even Hestia joined the conversation, and, to total surprise, authorized immediate punishment. Lafia's fist clenched, gleaming with combat strength, cutting through the air toward the rabbit, before he could even understand how the situation had gotten so out of control. The blow came as fast as a shot. The elf advanced mercilessly, driven by a mixture of jealousy, shame, and poorly disguised irritation. Belle barely had time to react. It all happened under the invisible gaze of the goddess, who watched the scene from a distance and, to everyone's shock, supported the execution of the sentence. The contrast between the brutal battlefield of minutes before and that almost comical confusion at the rest point created a strange, human, almost comforting tension. Even surrounded by danger, there was still room for impulsive emotions and complicated relationships. Around them, the main force was completing the final preparations. Canteens were emptied and returned, wounds hastily closed, weapons checked. Healers ran from one side to the other, prioritizing the most exhausted. The pace was controlled with an iron fist. No one could waste seconds. Each adventurer knew that, upon leaving that refuge illuminated by the blue crystals, they would return to the cruel domain of the deep dungeon. The remaining rest areas were few, distant, and the length of the path to the lower floors weighed on the mind like a shadow. Fueled by his recovery, the support he received, and the voices that still echoed in his memory, Bell remained focused on advancing. The mission allowed no prolonged distractions. Comrades fought above, others held the rear, and all were betting on that continuous progress. Between magic, rigid discipline, and bonds of trust, the group prepared to move forward, leaving behind a brief respite and carrying with them the certainty that, from then on, each step would cost more than the last.